Time to talk SA Schools, and the SA Schools Sprint Champs were held at Roodeplaat Dam in Gauteng, and it proves to be one of the year's highlights. From the under-12s to the determined under-18s, this is the hotbed of our future Olympic talent.
Pink Lady is so much more than an apple. While it is the queen of apples, and we guarantee that by making sure that every apple is picked at its optimum time to deliver a top quality eating experience, Pink Lady is more than that. It's about a lifestyle, about a philosophy and an approach to life, healthy living. We got involved through sponsorship of kayaks, and the aim of that was to help less privileged kids to have access to the top equipment so that they could compete on an equal basis. And we've extended it to the first year we sponsored 8 kayaks, this year 4 kayaks, and over 5 years we were putting more than 100,000 a year into paddling and junior development paddling.
The SA Schools is a vital springboard for aspirant athletes.
Hopefully to go over to Germany and do well there. It will be my first time racing overseas, so it could be interesting.
The SA Schools Regatta is a standout event because it delivers big entries, really great racing, plenty of vocal parental support on the banks, all in a warm camaraderie that this unique event, where individual, school and provincial boundaries count, but they all blur at the same time. Now here's a face to watch for the future. Luke Stoneman smoking his opposition on the way to his 500-meter win in the under-18 category.
I picked up my pace from the 500 and went all the way until the end, took it.
We actually get along pretty well, and we do combine pretty well in the boats, so I think we're just going to have to see. I think it'll be a good race.
Definitely. Yeah, well, we haven't been paddling that much together, but we had a paddle yesterday and it felt good, so hopefully today will run smoothly and go to plan.
So, on to the final of the under-18 girls K2 over the 500 metres, and there's some real class on show here. Interesting to see a wide variety of craft on the water as well, from the expensive imported European racing boats, alongside some locally made sprint and marathon doubles. The common denominator, however, is the determination of the girls on the water. They're giving it 100% for the 2 and a bit minutes that they're on the water. For many of the ambitious boys and girls, there is the option of travelling to the well-established junior regatta at Bochum in Germany, and that's normally their first taste of international competition. It's also a key chance to benchmark themselves against the global pace setters. In this competition, every race counts towards interprovincial and inter-school tallies, as well as the individual Victor and Victrix Ladorum competitions. So, looking at the numbers that count in the under-18 division, nothing in it as Luke Stoneman sneaks home against Michael Lee Farringer. In the girls' equivalent, the multi-talented all-rounder Kerry Siegel edging home against Brittany Peterson.
We love canoeing! See you next time!
Now, in keeping with our theory of taking an existing popular product that's gone back to the R&B department to be further refined, the popular Synergy single ski from Custom Kayaks has been redefined into what is now called the Focus. And this is a boat that's getting a lot of attention. The Synergy was an old school boat, full length, but it was a big, bulky, old-time ski. So to reduce some of that bulk, they tried to take some of the volume from above the seam line and remove a bit of the volume from below the seam line and then rejoin them. However, the first thing you notice when you compare them is that the boat is narrow at the front, and the same applies at the back. So your gut would say it's going to make it twitchier and more unstable. To offset that, the one piece of good news is that the seat has been lowered from the original Synergy and Synergy 2 seat, which should bring a bit of compromising stability. You remember, you can always chock it up with butt pads if you need to. The other very clever addition are these 2 thick gunnels. Not only does it add strength at a critical space in the cockpit, but it also gives you space to put in these brilliant grab handles. Good for carrying the ski, good for managing the ski when you're getting into the surf and keeping it straight. And if you do have admin and have to do a deep water re-entry, this is extremely handy indeed. So, Is she going to be twitchier than the Synergy, or is there going to be a net effect of stability? Let's grab our kit and go and have a look. Carrying the boat with the two handles takes a little getting used to. On the one side, you tend to find your knees get knocked by the bailers, but the other grab handle makes it a breeze to carry down to the water, and this is where the two asymmetrical handles are a big plus. Really easy to keep the ski settled in the water before you get out. The ski that we were testing, apart from being a beautifully coloured boat, was a carbon and super light and super rigid boat, and it handled wonderfully. It had a deflector, which is an optional extra on the skeg, handles wonderfully in the surf. Also interesting to see that the new boats that are being made now have the bullet bailers, where this boat still had old school scuppers in it. Well, I don't like saying this very often, but I was wrong, and I'm pleasantly surprised. After taking it out, you'll find that the boat is not only as stable as I expected with the dropped seat, but the net effect of having shaved away the volume front and back has actually had no effect on loss of stability. If anything, it's contributed to the overall feeling of stability, and at the same time, it's made it quicker. So the net consequence here is that the boat has got the same sort of comfort and stability of a Synergy, added stability, but it is noticeably quicker off the mark. The other thing you do notice, by being less bulky in the front, it punches out through the surf easier, and it handles extremely nimbly on the runs. It's very easy to get it to chop and change off a mark. So I think we've got a winner here. And in fact, my opinion is that this one is going to completely outdate and update the Synergy and take it out of the market. We have a winner.
Kayaking to me is more than just a sport.
Kajakfahren ist meine große
Kayaking is my
Leidenschaft.
great passion.
Wenn ich im Kajak sitze,
When I'm
dann
sitting in my kayak,
vergesse ich eigentlich alles drumherum.
I just forget about everything around me.
Often we get to see parts of the world that I would say no one has ever seen.
Wenn ich Kajak fahre, dann lebe ich.
When I'm kayaking,
Und die
I
Zeit
live.
dazwischen dient eigentlich als
And the time in
Vorbereitung zum
between
Leben.
is just a preparation for that living.
I'm Jared Mann. I'm 27 years old from New Zealand. I'm a kayaker, photographer and videographer. I'm a member of the Sickline kayak team and we travel the world kayaking.
Ich bin Olaf Opsamer, 39 Jahre
I am
alt,
Olaf
aus
Opsamer, I'm
Deutschland.
39 years old, from
Mit
Germany.
meiner Kamera dokumentiere ich die
With my
Abenteuer
camera,
des
I document the
Sickline-Teams.
adventures of the Sickline team.
So I started kayaking when I was 13 years old at Tauranga Boys College at my high school. And there wasn't really a point in time when I decided that I wanted to centre my life around it. It was more just a natural progression. When you enjoy something that much, you're just going to carry on doing it and take it to the highest level you can. The best part about my sport for me is actually the travelling side of it, which has meant I've been able to travel to some unique locations around the globe and see them from a different perspective than any normal traveller would ever get to see.
Ich bin aufgewachsen in einer Kajakfamilie.
I
Meine
come from a
Eltern
kayaking family.
waren leidenschaftliche
My
Kajakfahrer
parents were
und
both passionate
haben mir diese
kayakers,
Leidenschaft
and I inherited
vererbt.
their
Bin
passion.
quasi im Kajak geboren worden.
I could say I was
Ich
born in a
lebe meinen
kayak.
Traum, das ist
I live my
Kajakfahren.
dream, which is kayaking.
Und dieser Traum ist
This dream
sehr real geworden
is
und
becoming a
mittlerweile
reality.
zu meinem Beruf.
And it's now my job. Kayakers refer to a river god as a perfect stretch of white water in stunning scenery. And to find these river gods, the team travels the world. This trip takes the team to the Indonesian island of Sumatra in Southeast Asia, the 6th largest island in the world.
In Sumatra, we were lucky enough to visit some of the beautiful beaches there and do a little bit of surfing. We only had our river kayaks, so they weren't that well suited to the surf, but we still got out there and gave it a go, and it was a nice change from the inland rivers that we're so used to. I'd been to Sumatra twice before in the past, and I knew that it was going to be a good location for kayaking. So for this trip, going back with Olaf and a few of the other team members. We arrived and the rainy season was a little bit longer than expected, so the rivers were definitely still high. Some of them were really massive.
In Sumatra, one of the biggest problems was getting to the rivers. So we had to use all sorts of interesting vehicles.
I mean, we basically have to use any means possible, any sort of cars that we can get hold of. Sometimes we find ourselves in the backs of trucks, riding motorbikes, in boats, whatever, you know, whatever's available and whatever works, really. While we were paddling these rivers in Sumatra, a lot of the time we'd have to get out of our kayaks and walk through the jungle, and it was a little bit of a scary experience for all of us, walking through sort of the unknown jungle where we knew there was snakes and all sorts of creepy crawlies and animals that, I mean, we'd heard of, but we didn't really know how dangerous they were.
In Sumatra hatten wir das Glück,
In Sumatra, we were lucky to find one of these so-called river gods. It was the Asahan River. It's the outflow from Lake Toba, which is the world's largest volcanic lake. It was an absolutely unique whitewater experience that none of us had ever tasted anywhere before.
Für mich war das Paddeln Sumatra auf dem Asahan schon.
Paddling the Asahan River in Sumatra was a moment of perfection for me. It was just overwhelming joy, it was fun, with massive water. There was jungle all the way around us. And these scenic attractions and impressions made this experience extraordinary for us. So from Southeast Asia, we now turn to South America. In Chile, on the west side of the Andes mountain, the extreme kayakers wanted to conquer some high waterfalls.
All of these trips we go on are different. They have a different sort of structure, and sometimes we're going to countries where it's a big expedition just to get into the river, you know. Sometimes we're going to a country where the logistics are good and we can drive everywhere, we can drive straight to the rivers.
Für uns Kajakfahrer ist Chile das
For us kayakers, Chile is the kingdom of the waterfalls. The reason being is that it's just so easy to consume. There's good infrastructure, they've got roads, hospitals, there's mountain rescue, and therefore you travel to Chile to test your personal limits.
Für einen unbeteiligten Betrachter schaut Kajakfahren ja.
To an uninvolved spectator, kayaking must seem pretty crazy. Maybe like we're tired of living. But we kayakers talk about a calculated risk. And that means that we carefully plan everything. And we observe how we want to ride the waterfall.
So you think I got a funny
Coming up in the second half of the show, we find out about stand-up paddleboarding with Doozy King Andy Burkett, nutritional essentials with Nikki de Villiers, more surf ski news from beyond the backline, and we check out your submissions in the hot clips.